Hello, my name is Mike the Mighty, and thanks for watching my video. Today, it's a video I don't often ever really do, and I generally try to be optimistic, balanced, and positive in my video reviews. However, there is a certain aspect that is absolutely killing me in terms of gameplay for Guild Wars 2, and that is PvP. PvP Season 2 is an absolute dire mess. And for the simple reason that they've changed the way the system works in terms of how you actually progress up and down the ladder. So let me explain to you, if we actually have a look at the league, you start off in Amber. They changed the Amber system so they actually made it easier to get up tiers. That I didn't really have a problem with. I think that's actually a good thing. I didn't have any problems getting out of Amber. I did last season, so that's actually a good thing, the way they've split up. Again, for Tier 2 as well, I didn't really have any problems getting out of Emerald. You can lose pips in this, but you can't lose tiers. It's 4 pips a tier, so you actually go up fairly quickly as well. Sapphire is where you start to get a little bit more tricky, because you can lose pips, but you can't lose tiers. So you can get here, you can go up to like pip 4, but then you can go all the way back down again, and that's absolutely fine. Again, I didn't really have too much trouble getting out of Sapphire. But last season, I really struggled with getting out of Ruby, and I eventually did get out of Ruby. It took me a long time to get out of Ruby, but this year, this season, they've done something different. Now, a previous match, what would happen is you would have you come up against the team, and for example, you'd have your team down this side. Let's take, for example, a recent match. You'd have Legacy of the Faux Fire. You can see I've had 3... Well, I've actually, if you ignore the 2 custom arenas which I got for my dailies, I've had 4 defeats in a row, and it is one of the reasons it's just absolutely appalling. Not only that, recently I actually had 18 losses out of 20. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's people getting stuck in tiers. What it means is that if you're here in Ruby, then you can't, you're finding it very, very difficult to actually progress. So let's talk about what they did that changed things. One thing that, what I'll do is actually start off on the benefits. I do believe that the current meta is much better. The actual, the builds, there's nothing too overpowered. People complained at the beginning about Necros, but people have sort of got over that. There's only one class that I would say is probably overpowered and needs a slight nerf, and that would be the Scrapper Engineer. The Hammer, the Scrapper is a little bit overpowered in its sustain. They do need to remove it because it's just one of the few classes right now where it's very, very difficult to beat them with any other class. Revenant, Warrior, Guardian, Necromancer, Elementalist, Druid, they all have their certain areas that are fairly stable. Mesmer as well, and they're all, they can be beaten by certain other classes, and they can all be beaten by other classes. Engineer can pretty much hold its own against anything, and I think that's just a little bit overpowered right now. But so the meta, I think, is in actually a very good state. I think that's the only minor thing. If you look at last season with the Chronomancer, was ridiculous, and so this season is actually much, much better. So the actual meta's doing okay. Let's talk about how the system changed. The MMR, they decided to change more on your league ranking, and I think that's actually been a good thing. However, there has been a downside, and what has meant with this new system in how you actually earn pips. So how you earn pips before was that you would be paired in a matchup with people of similar standard. And so, for example, in this match here, I was paired with either, mostly rubies with a couple of sapphires, because if you actually look at my tier, I would have a few more of the sapphire tier 5 people there. The problem is that a lot of fairly inexperienced and generally sort of not the experienced PvPer have managed to get up to this point, because it's very easy to actually level up to Ruby. And so there are, I've noticed this quite dramatically, there are a number of Ruby players that still basically don't know the core aspects of PvP. They don't know how to rotate. They don't know to focus targets. They barely know, the map awareness to make sure that people are going down and to get the stomps. It's amazing how many people don't actually bother stomping anymore. It's ridiculous. The pip system, this is my major aggro. So before, you would be matched up, 2 teams, and what would happen is a formula would determine the actual chance of your team winning. So say, for example, you had basically a team of 5 rubies against 5 rubies. They would actually look at your MMR as well, and they would say, okay, you've got, you're really against a tough team here, so you've got a 20% chance of winning. And what that meant was that because you had a low chance of winning, if you actually lost by a close margin, you could actually gain pips by losing because you came up against a very, very tough team. On the flip side, if you had an 80% chance of winning and you actually lost, then you might actually lose 3 pips, which is always a killer. Now I actually prefer that system. The new system is all about winning streaks. So you will gain 1 pip, and then you'll get another pip, and then when you hit your 3rd victory in a row, you'll get an extra pip. And then you'll get, if you win a 4th one in a row, you'll get, again, 2 pips. And so if you're on a winning streak, then that is really, really easy for you to level up. Now, if we come over here and look at the Guild Challenger leaderboard, these are all the guilds that are actually in here. Look at these, the teams that are at the top. These are the experienced teams that have won 21 out of 22. They will be rocketing their ranking to get to Legendary extremely quickly. Because they will get this win streak going on. You know, you look at Team PZ, one of the actual Pro League teams. They've won 6 in a row. That's going to get them a lot of bonus points, a lot of extra pips from that. But when you're parking it, you're getting a win ratio of roughly 50%. You win one, you lose one. You win one, you lose one. You win one, you lose one. And it's this situation where you win one, you lose one. You are stuck in what's PvP hell right now. A lot of people are stuck in this situation where they can't level or improve their ranking because there are a lot of other sort of lower quality players that are in this situation with you because you've not leveled up quickly enough, and so you can't actually progress because you can't get that win streak going. Now, the old system was very, very good because there are times when you could have a couple of a few wins in a row. You could gain 2-3 pips. You might actually have something to fight for. And that's where the crux of this argument comes from. For example, let's have a look at my match history. And if we actually look here. This defeat here, we lost 501 victory, 501 to 489. If it was evenly matched, then they would still lose 1 pip. But if they were, they had a percentage chance of around 30% chance of winning, they might actually not lose pips. It's a really good system. You don't lose pips. You've got something to fight for. You keep fighting to the end. However, you get matches like this in the current scenario. Look at the scores. They're just absolutely overwhelming defeats. Because what is the point in carry on playing when you get 100, 150 points behind? Comebacks, if you start off really, really badly, it's highly unlikely. There's, I'd say, a 90% chance that you're not going to come back from that. And there is no incentive to keep playing because a 57 to 502 loss gets you exactly the same pips as a 501 to 489 loss. What is the point in carrying on playing PvP when you might as well just say, alright, screw it, I'm going to lose. We'll just might as well get through to the next match. I'll call it a loss pip and then we'll go through to the next game. There is no incentive. The only time you really fight hard is when you're on a win streak and you're really trying to stop that from happening. But if you're not on a win streak, and this is where this system comes in, if you're on a losing streak, so you can see here, if we ignore the custom arena, the ranked arena, I'm on a losing streak of 4. If I win, I'll get 2 pips the next match for getting rid of my losing streak. So if you actually lose 2 in a row, and then your 3rd match comes along, sometimes it's not even worth bothering with the 3rd match if you're going to lose, because you know the next match, if you win, you'll gain 2 pips and you'll be back up ahead. And it's this situation again that's really, really poorly thought out. I really despise the way that, you know, I just generally, I don't care now for PvP. I find it an absolute chore to play PvP right now. It is in a situation that you're getting people that are very, very good and in groups and can actually work, you know, sort of have progressed really quickly because of their win streaks. They're in, you know, they're fine, they're in their sort of level. But you're getting a lot of other new players. I mean, just look at the spread that you actually get here. You know, you got a few diamonds, a few rubies, but the majority here are Sapphire, and they're being paired with people in Ruby, and we can't even, you know, people in Ruby, like myself, can't progress up because we're getting paired with lower people. And then you get people like Legends that, you know, obviously these are the you know, they get in a good run going. If they win 10 in a row, that will see them up extremely highly. And it's people like this, the teams that can actually get these win streaks going, that it really does denigrate the pug team. Because if you're solo queuer, you're finding it extremely difficult. You know, how many games am I going to have to play to try and get out of Ruby? It's going to be hundreds. At least 100. Because it just win one, lose one. Win one, I might win two, but then I might lose two. And it's unbelievably how long it's going to take. On the old system, you might get 3 wins in a row, but you might get 7 pips out of that because you might have fought a really, really good team. But not only that, the major issue is the lack of the fact that you at the defeat, a 400 point defeat means the same as a 1 point defeat, and that for me is absolutely wrong, because it doesn't give any incentive to keep on fighting and to keep on playing PvP when you're in a losing situation. If you are 100 points behind at the, you know, sort of within the first 3-4 minutes, you can still fight and keep on fighting, because you know that eventually on the old system you might actually have a chance of not losing a pip. That doesn't work in this scenario, and, you know, I for one, I don't care. You know, if I'm 100 points behind, what is the point of me carrying on playing? You know, I'm going to lose, and, you know, I'm an experienced enough player. I can read enough matches that it's a scenario that you're that far behind. You might be able to bring a little bit behind, but you've seen how your other players are playing, and it's quite clear, because of the actual low quality of the players playing PvP in the particular sort of the mid to higher echelons right now, that you really are struggling, and this team is unlikely to pull it back. Now, take last year for example. Because I reached Diamond last year, if my team are actually 100 points behind, I have the confidence to know that the Diamond player, every person last season that got to Diamond, was a very, very good player. I don't feel that in Ruby this year. People in Ruby are not good players. There are absolutely abysmal players in Ruby, and it's this that's absolutely shocking. And I'm really struggling to have the motivation to keep playing. And it's the fact that you see some stupid things that go on in PvP, like people actually leaving points, and you're like, well, why are you not capping the point? Cap the point. Or you'd have 2 people standing on the same node trying to cap it. That's going on in Ruby this season. It is just absolute joke right now. And ArenaNet really need to do something about this pip system, because you're going to get people that just don't really care and will just AFK, and it's all going to be over. So, look, this is my rant on this. It's you know, I don't generally rant about how bad the game is in certain scenarios. I always try and look for the positive, and there have been some positive aspects for Season 2, but generally, Season 2 has now reached a point where, for a lot of people, it's an absolute hell. And I played up until the very last day of last season. I think I'm on the verge of actually giving it up, and we've got a full month ahead of this. A full month before the end of the Season 2, and I really can't see the motivation for me carrying on playing if this is the scenario right now. I'd like to hear your thoughts because I've talked to a number of people, and a lot of people are feeling this way that I've spoken to. But I'd like to hear your comments. You know, are you finding it the same? This has been particularly on the NA servers. I haven't actually experienced this on EU. But yeah, please let me know your thoughts on this. Do you agree? Do you think the Season 1 pip system was better? Do you think the meta is much better in Season 2? Let me know. And thanks for watching my video.